Good morning, Mr. Ahmed.
Good morning, Miss Amanda.
Good morning. Good morning, Miss Amanda.
Good morning. Okay, guys, we only have just over half the class here, so we're going to give them another minute, and then I'll take attendance. Please do not unmute your mic until I ask you to. Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and take attendance. When I call your name, unmute your mic, say here. Please answer on the first time I call your name, and then mute your mic again. Okay. Abdurrahman Kareem.
Here.
Adito.
Here.
Basso.
Here.
Yad Adil. Yad Adil. Yad Tamer.
Here.
Thank you. Hamza.
Here.
Muaz.
Here.
Muhammad.
Here.
Mustafa. Mustafa. Omar. Omar. Tahir.
Here.
Wahba.
Here.
Yasin. Yasin. Yusuf.
Here.
Aisel. Aisel. Your mic, please, Yusuf. Aisel. Farah.
Here.
Farida.
Here.
Jada.
Here.
Jenna.
Here.
Samana.
Here.
Leanne. Leanne. Leela. Leela. Melik.
Here.
Pilar.
Here.
Reem.
Here.
Ragmini.
Yes, Miss Amanda.
and Tia. Okay, guys, so we're on page 403 in the reading writing workshop. Page 403. Yes, Mohammed, what's your question?
Yes. So yesterday was our last reading quiz.
What's our what?
Last reading quiz.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so
Amanda, I have something important about the workshop.
okay, it's good to raise your hand and wait for me to call on you. Yes, Farida.
The page 403 doesn't have the story. It gives me the literature terms, I think the last one, about the historical fiction and homophones. It doesn't give me the
No,
story at all.
no, honey, it doesn't. This is 402 and 403 on the screen.
Miss Amanda, the same thing is for me. 410, 402
Okay, guys,
don't show the
mute your mics unless I've called on you to talk. Go ahead. Yeah, mute your mic, please. Okay. And your book does not show 402. 1 second, I'll go check mine again. Let's see. Did I open for grade 4 or grade 3? Maybe I opened grade 3's picture. 1 second. Yes, I did. I opened grade 3's picture, I think. Yes, I did. Is this, let's try page 435. Thank you, Farida and the ad.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Farida and the ad. I opened the wrong picture by mistake. Okay, page 434. Thank you.
Yes, this is the right page, Miss Amanda.
Okay, great. All right, so let's take a look at the picture that you see in front of you. And this week's essential question is, what shapes a person's identity? What does identity mean? What does identity mean? We've talked about this before. Who can tell me what identity means? Yeah, your hand is up.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to unmute it. I mean, Lord, my hand.
Okay, Muhammad, what does identity mean?
Identity. It's like describe something.
What does it describe?
How a person looks
Okay,
or something looks,
okay.
like the description.
Okay, yeah, so your identity is who you are. Your
Yes.
identity is all about who you are. So if I'm talking about Muhammad's identity, then I'm going to describe Muhammad. If I'm talking about my identity, I'm going to describe me. A person's identity describes who they are. Okay? Abdurrahman, can you read the yellow box for us, please? Up to talk about it.
Okay.
But raise your voice, please.
Okay. The people in your life help shape who you are. Yet you are unique. Think about the people around you, such as your family and friends. How are you like them? How are you different from them? What events in your life have influenced you the most? Where do your ancestors come from? Knowing your roots can help you understand your identity.
Okay, thank you. So what it's saying is that who you are is a factor of many things. You are affected by the people that you are around. You are affected by the situations that you go through. You are affected by your ancestors' heritage and upbringing. Many things affect who you are. Many things shape your identity. And every person is unique. Every person is different. Okay, here it shows two young men. These two young men appear to be of Asian descent. One of them is eating an American hamburger and one is eating a bowl of rice. One is wearing a sweatshirt and one is wearing traditional clothing. So the comparison here is that they are both Asian, but one has been brought up in America and one has been brought up in China. They are affected by the people they live around. They are affected by the customs that they see. They are affected by the lifestyle that is available to them. And they are affected by the situations that they deal with on a daily basis. Yes, Muhammad.
Miss, like the guy with the sweatshirt has the culture of America, and the guy on the right with the traditional clothing
Yes,
is the Asian culture.
yes, that's right.
I mean,
Yes, that's
Miss,
right.
yeah, chopstick. That means he's Chinese.
Yes, he's eating with chopsticks. Okay, so he's eating in
Yes.
traditional style. Okay, so
Yeah.
you are definitely influenced by the people who are around you. One would look at this picture and assume that this young man has been raised abroad, most likely in America, based on the fact that he's holding a hamburger. And this one that he has been raised probably in his homeland of China or Japan, okay, an Asian country. All right, let's move on to the next page and take a look at your vocabulary words. I hope everyone has their homework in front of them. All right, this is the last week to submit assignments. Don't lose marks this week for not keeping up on your assignments, okay? All right, the first word, Mehmet, can you tell us what gobble means?
Sure, why not? First word, gobble.
Do you have your book ready, Mehmet?
Yes, I have it now. A gobble. Gobble to eat something quickly in large chunks.
That's right. When you gobble something, you just like woof it down, rip it into big pieces and swallow it whole. Okay? All right.
Okay.
Read the sample sentence first, please, Adito, for gobble. It's on the board, Adito. Hello, Adito. Adito, can you hear me?
Yes.
Read the sample sentence, please.
Okay. Gobble means to eat something quickly in large
Sample
chunks.
sentence. Sample sentence. It's on the screen.
Ted saw the hungry dog gobble up his dinner in less than a minute.
Okay, so the dog is hungry, so he gobbles. He eats very quickly. All right, next word, individuality. Yeah, do you have a question?
No, I just wanted to answer.
Okay, go ahead. Answer individuality. What does it mean?
Okay. A characteristic that makes one person or thing different from another.
Okay, so remember when we said that each person is unique, every person has their own
Yeah.
identity. Individuality is the thing that makes each person different from the other. It's what makes you you, the things that are uniquely you. Okay? All right, thank you, Ed. Bessel, can you read the sample sentence for us, please, for individuality?
I have only the
Sorry?
I didn't think of this book. I have only the vocab. I forgot
It's
to
on
open
the
it.
screen, honey.
Okay. Sarah expressed her inv-
Individuality.
individuality by warning us an incu-
Unique.
pair of slipper, slipper.
Slippers. Okay, so it says that Sarah it shows her individuality by wearing a unique pair of slippers. Her slippers are a little odd. They're bright pink and what looks like, I guess, animal print. Okay, and this is how she shows who she is, what she likes, what makes her different than others. Okay, individuality, remember the things that make you you, the things that make you different than others. Okay, Farah, can you tell us what mist means?
Mist, a mass or cloud of tiny drops of water in the air.
Okay, right. Well, you know how you go out in the morning sometimes and the air feels damp, or you go out in the morning and you see little drops of water on the cars. This is called mist. Okay, mist, you can feel it in the air. You can feel mist when it's dropped from the sky, and you can touch it where it fell onto things. You can feel a mist spray from a water hose. You can feel a mist spray from your sink if you turn the water on very gently. Okay, a mist. Let's see, Adel, can you read the sentence for us for mist?
Yes, the spray from the sprinklers created a wet mist.
Okay, so you see that the sprinklers here in the picture are spraying in the background. If you stand close enough to the sprinklers, then you can feel little droplets of water in the air that come off of the water that's coming out of the sprinklers. That is the mist. Okay. All right, Hamza, roots.
Roots?
Yes, definition, please.
Organs where something begins.
That's right. The roots of something is where it began, its origin, where it started. So if we talk about your family's roots, then we're talking about where your family began. Okay? The people
Okay.
in your family, the ancestors that you know of, and where they came from as far back as you know. Okay, that's what your roots are. Okay, thank you, Hamza.
Look.
Jada, can you read the sentence for roots for us, please?
Okay, my family has roots in California, but most of our family lives in Florida.
Okay, so this person's family, this person's family has roots in Florida, which means that the family began, so their family began in Florida, in California, in California, but now most of the family lives in Florida. So the roots are from California, however, they have moved to Florida. Okay, next page. All right, why isn't it loading? All right, Jenna, can you tell us what a metaphor is?
A metaphor compares to unlike things without
The use of like or as.
That's right. When we talk about word phrases like Jenna is a grumpy bear. Okay. We talk about word phrases. Jenna is like a grumpy bear. A metaphor does not use the word like. A metaphor does not use the word as. Similes use like or as. Both are comparisons of two unlike things, but the metaphor does not use the word like or as. Okay, it says use a metaphor to describe a school bus. Can anybody think of a metaphor to describe a school bus? What's a possible metaphor to describe a school bus? Green, can you tell us? If you guys have your hands up for something other than the question, please put your hands down. All right, think about a school bus. A school bus is big and yellow. What if we say the school bus is a big banana? The school bus is a big banana, okay?
Miss,
Who's saying miss? Let's see, Abdurrahman, do you have a question?
Yes.
What's your question?
In roots, I have two definitions, not one.
Okay, this is the definition for the story, but go ahead, tell us the other one. It's going to be a part of a plant, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay, that's a science term that everybody should know. So thank you for telling us that it's in the book as well. Reem, what's your question?
yesterday when I did the vocab, I sent this, but with another meaning.
All right, you sent what?
I sent the four vocab and metaphor and personification and imaginary and preverse with them, but with another meaning.
Okay, honey, you can message me about something like this privately. We don't need to discuss this in the meeting. Yes, Malik. Yes, Malik, do you have a question? Your hand is up. Okay, guys, please pay attention to raising your hands because I keep stopping the lesson to ask if you have questions, and then when I call your name, you put your hand down. So guys, make sure you pay attention to whether or not you put it up. I understand you put it up sometimes and forget, but please try to pay attention. Okay, so a metaphor then again is a comparison of two things that does not use the word like or as, okay? The sky is a blue ocean. This is a metaphor. All right, next we have imagery. Imagery. Tell us what imagery means, please. Jamana.
Imagery means is the use of words to create picture in the reader's mind.
Okay, so imagery is when the author uses words to create a picture in your mind. What did we call this previously before when we thought of pictures in our mind using details?
Depicts.
No, not depict.
Um,
Anybody know? What did we call this before when we create a picture in our mind? Sarah?
Visualize.
That's right. Visualize is correct. Very good. Okay, if your hand is up to answer, please put your hands down. Visualize is correct. Now, what's the difference between imagery and visualize? Visualize is what you do in your mind when you read imagery on the paper. Say that again. Visualize is what you do in your mind, how you imagine something looks You visualize. You're the person creating that picture in your mind. Imagery is the words that the author uses that causes you to create that picture. Do we understand the difference? Imagery is the words on the paper that you use to visualize. The words that the author has written down, his use of words that made you think of the visualization in your head. Okay, so to visualize is the act of it being in your mind when you read the words on the paper. And the words on the paper are called imagery. Okay, anybody have questions about the difference between the two?
No thanks.
Okay. All right. Let's go on to personification. Personification. Where did you guys go? All your names disappeared. There we go. All right, so personification. Tell me, please. What does personification mean? Leanne?
Is when human characteristics are given to anything that's not human.
Okay. So what does that mean? When human characteristics are given to anything that is not human. For instance, I could say the flame from the fire danced across the log. Can flames dance? No. This is a human characteristic. Humans dance. Okay, so this is personification. When you give a characteristic to something that is not human, but it's something that humans do. Like, for instance, if I say, the humming of the machines sang in the background. The machines can't sing. This is a human characteristic. So this is personification. When we give a human characteristic to something that is not human. I'll give you one more example. The book reminds me of old memories. The book cannot remind you. This is a human characteristic. This is personification. Okay? When you give a characteristic that belongs to a human, something that only a human can do, but you give it to a non-human thing. And this happens often when using metaphors and imagery, because we are using words to describe things. Okay? We'll take a look at examples as we go through the reading. And know that this is something that you will see a lot of as you get a bit older. The more difficult the reading is that you do, the more you see personification and figurative language in your writing. Okay? All right, last definition. Then we have free verse. Anybody have a question about personification? Everybody understands the examples? Okay, very good. So personification, free verse. Muaz, can you tell us what it means?
Verbs that don't have a consistent metrical pattern of rhyme scheme.
Okay, so a free verse poem is just what it says it is. It's free. It doesn't have to have a certain number of lines. It doesn't have to have a certain rhyme scheme. It doesn't have to have a certain pattern. It is free to do whatever it wants. Free. Okay? Let's move on to the short story. All right, this is where we normally have our shared read, our short story. Today we have poetry. Okay? This week's genre is poetry. All right, just one second. Let's see, Muhammad, you're up next. How about you read for us? Climbing Blue Hill.
Of course. Climbing Blue Hill. The yellow leaves begin to glimmer among the green ones. We hike up Blue Hill through an early morning mist.
Keep going.
Continue. Okay. It's not much farther, boys. My grandfather bellows happily, his words an echo for all the other times he had to
Urge us.
argue us up the steep trail. I hear the comforting squeak of his boots as the ground's chill breath whispers against our ankles and overgrown branches tug curiously in my hair. Abruptly, the trail spits us out into gray rocks, into blue sky and sunlight. My brother shoves me aside, races to the low bushes huddled against the wind. His finger tug in a tiny leaves. Look, blueberries, he yells, and we gobble the blue sweetness up, my brother and my grandfather and me.
Okay. So this is a story about two brothers and their grandfather climbing a trail. Okay, they're going to hike up Blue Hill. All right, there's lots of stuff going on in this poem. Let's take a look at the first stanza. We have how many stanzas in this poem? Who can tell me? How many stanzas do we have? Remember, the stanza is the separation of the poem into what looks like paragraphs. How many stanzas, Layan? Five. Very good. That's correct. We have 5 stanzas. So let's look at that first stanza. All right. We have a vocabulary word here, mist. Remember, we said mist is the tiny droplets of water that are in the air. And remember, I told you you can often feel this in the morning, the dampness in the air. All right, let's take a look at the second stanza. There is a metaphor in our stanza. Can you tell me what the metaphor is in the second stanza? Oh, sorry, not a metaphor. Personification. What is the personification in the second stanza? Sorry. Tell us, Muhammad, what's the personification in the second stanza?
In the second stanza,
Yeah,
his words an echo for all the other times.
that's correct. His words and echo. His
Because
words
words
and
can't
echo. It's comparing his words to an echo, right? It is a metaphor. I was correct the first time. It is a metaphor. His words and echo. It's comparing his words to an echo. Do you know what an echo is? Does anybody
Yes.
know? Muhammad, you know what an echo is? Tell us.
Yes. Like when you go to the mountains, you shout something and it repels back to
That's right.
have two voices in the same
That's right.
time.
It's a vibration of your voice. That's correct.
Yes.
So and a lot of times when you go here to Sharm, they scream your names into the mountains
Yes,
when
I
you go
tried it
on the
before.
beach buggies. This is a very common thing that they do here. And when you hear your voice go, for instance, if I say Muhammad, it goes Muhammad, med, and it keeps echoing your voice. So here it is a metaphor that compares his words to an echo. All right, let's take a look at the third stanza. What do we find? What can we find in the third stanza? Tahir, do you have a question?
No, I was going to say what echo means.
Okay, thank you. Let's look at the third stanza. There's two things in the third stanza that we should point out. Leanne, can you tell us what one of them is?
Miss, you mean the second stanza or the third?
The third.
The third, as the ground's chill breeze whispers against our ankles.
Okay, so the ground's chill breath whispers against our ankles. What is this an example of, Leanne?
Personification.
Personification, that's right. Personification, why? Because
Yes,
the
personification.
what's the characteristic that it's giving to the ground?
A breeze whispers against our ankles.
So which is the characteristic? What is the human quality that it's giving?
The ground.
What's it giving to the ground? The ground has what?
Chill breeze.
The breath, right. It has breath. The ground does not have breath. And what does that breath do, Ragmini?
The bread whispers.
Right, whispers. The ground cannot whisper. Only humans can whisper. When we talk in a very low voice, this is whispering. So it's given the human characteristic of whispering to the breath of the ground, okay? Also having breath is something that belongs to living things, not the ground. The ground does not have breath. Okay, thank you very much, Ragmini and Leanne. Guys, don't forget to put your hands down after you answer and mute your mic.
Miss,
Okay, if you have a question, raise your hand. All right, let's take a look at the rest of the stanza. There's something else in our stanza as well. We're still on the third stanza. There's another example in this stanza. Okay, Ragmini, you tell us what it is this time.
Okay. The branches tug curiously at my hair. It's
Okay.
a personification as well.
It's personification as well, correct. What human, excuse me, what human quality is it giving to the branches?
Curiously.
Okay, it's not only giving it curiously, it's saying that it tugs curiously, okay? So it pulls at something. Do branches pull at something? To tug means to pull. Can the branches pull?
No.
No, of course, right. This is something that we do. We grab onto something and we pull it. We can tug at it. Branches may get caught on you and you pull against them, but they don't pull on you, okay? So this is another example of personification, saying that the branches tug curiously. Curiously means that they want to understand something. They have a desire to know what something means, okay? All right. Sorry, Muhammad, I hit your thing by mistake. Okay, let's take a look at our fourth stanza. I want you to look, we have less than 1 minute before the meeting ends. I want you to